Hey everybody, it's Mr. Cannon here for the next installment in our Senior Project Screencast series. Today we're going to talk about project verification. All right, so what is project verification? Well, it's something that happens in quarter three and quarter four, and the idea behind it is to get your project in front of the eyes of some new folks. So, what project verification is a meeting between you, the senior project student, and 2 to 3 BHS staff members who are not your mentor, by the way. So, why are we doing this? Why are we doing senior project verification meetings? Well, here's the answer. All right. There's going to be two installments, one in quarter three and one in quarter four. And I'll talk about what's going to happen in each one a little bit later on in the screencast. But the real point of these meetings is this. As you develop your senior project along the way, sometimes you might get stuck in a little bit of a rut. Sometimes you might not be living up to the expectations that you had set for yourself moving forward. And sometimes it can be just really helpful to explain what your project is and what your goals are to a new set of people who may not know you or may not know about your project, to get those fresh eyes and new perspectives. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is because we want to ensure that Bedford High School seniors produce good senior projects, which they're proud of. And we actually think that this can really help in that process. So, how is it going to be graded? The most important thing to remember when it comes to project verification is you are not getting graded on your project at this point. You are getting graded on the process that you are undergoing, okay? And so with that in mind, here's the nitty-gritty on how it's going to be graded. For both quarter three and quarter four, there's a form. For each form, they're called project verification form number 1 and project verification form number 2. So in quarter three, print out project verification form number 1 and bring it with you. Fill it out and bring it with you when you go to your scheduled project verification meeting. And I'll talk about that in a minute. When you are at your project verification meeting, one of the two or three teachers on your panel will talk to you, and they'll fill out their portion, sign it, and give it back to you. And then you scan and upload it, okay? So what you get graded on is the completion of the form, not the feedback that the teachers give you on the form. I hope that makes sense. And again, you do this twice, once in quarter three and then a second time in quarter four. When you go to project verification meetings, they happen during the same Advisory B senior project time, Advisory B, that we have. So for each student, it's probably about 5 to 10 minutes long. You meet with staff members who are not your mentor. One of the great things is because they bring fresh eyes to the discussion, they can not only help you brainstorm some new ideas to improve your project, but they can actually give you new ideas to help you solve problems that you're encountering, or maybe even point out problems that you didn't know you had before it's too late. These project verification meetings are scheduled by the Senior Project Committee. They happen twice. In quarter three, they're going to be happening in the last week of January. And in quarter four, they happen in about mid-April. And we talk about when those get scheduled on the second to last slide in this screencast. So here's an important thing about what the meeting is not. It is not the time that you want to begin thinking about your A-OK. And at this point, there have been other assignments in senior project that should keep you on track with that. Certainly, it's not the best time to complain about your senior project your mentor, excuse me. And it's certainly not a good time to skip. And I'll tell you what happens if you skip in a second. But I think one of the reasons why we do project verification is because it keeps everybody honest and working towards a productive end. And frankly, if when you sit down for your project verification, if you cannot defend the validity of your project in front of a panel of 2 to 3 teachers, then that's a pretty big red flag that there are some things in your project that you need to change and beef up, okay? So that's sort of why we do this. All right, so if you miss your meeting, and this is if you skip it or if you are sick or anything like that, if you miss your project verification meetings for any reason, then we are going to reschedule you. And instead of meeting with those teachers, you'll be required to meet with the senior project committee instead. During your meetings, the project verification panel that you meet with, those staff members, will be asking about your project so far, and you can actually see on the senior project website examples of some of the questions that they might ask you. So you can kind of anticipate ahead of time what types of things they might ask you about. But just in case you want to see them, here's what they might be. So as you can see, these questions are a lot more about the process of doing the project than they are necessarily about specific aspects of your project. Okay? And if this doesn't emphasize the fact that we care more about the process than anything else, I'm not so sure what would. So here are some questions you can sort of take a look at, or you can take a look at the document on the senior project website. All right, almost done here. The panel might ask follow-up questions on the following topics: AOK idea, AOK progress, incorporating research, or your outside expert involvement. Again, these are all aspects of senior project that are important and required, and so you may find that the folks on your panel are asking you questions about it. All right, here we go. As far as when you will be scheduled to meet with your project verification panel, those schedules will come out about 2 weeks before they occur. So about 2 weeks before mid-January, or the last week in January. So sometime around mid-January, we will release a schedule, and you can find yourself on that schedule and find out what room you'll be in. And then you'll see who the teachers are when you get there. And then same thing for the second project verification in April. All right. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing it. If you have any questions about project verification, obviously start with your senior project mentor. You can always go to the study hall room in room 348, although sometimes that study hall bounces around to different rooms depending on space and availability. But wherever the study hall room is, there's a teacher in there that's happy to help you with your senior project. Or you can always find a member of the senior project committee, including me, Mr. Cannon, signing off on the project verification screencast.